All right, Trey. So back when we sat down in 2019,
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but we you kind of touched on this briefly. You talked about you had a Jay-Z story
Right.
back then, and it was kind of like
So this ain't new.
this isn't new.
Okay.
This isn't new.
I just want to just this is not a new story.
No, it's not a new story.
I've talked about this on several occasions.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I just want to be clear. I want the people to be
November 2019. Man,
okay.
On my platform.
And I've talked about it before that. So just to be clear.
So no, it's not.
But I never put it out there to the public. But people in circles in the business and outside of the business know this story. This is not a new thing. I'm not bringing this up just to bring it, we'll get deep into. I just want that part to be clear. This is not new.
It's not a new story, but it's resurfaced at an interesting time. So okay, so when we first talked about it briefly back in 2019, I don't remember if we actually, I don't know if we put that piece out there, like pull that little clip and put it out there, but yo, it's resurfaced, man, because you just did an interview on Doggie Diamonds TV.
Right.
And
shout out to Doggie Diamonds, that's my guy.
You know, shout out to him. And this you had an opportunity to tell this story again.
Right.
And it's in relation to when you were in the studio with Big, you were about to lay the record with Big, Keep Your Hands High.
Right.
You met Jay-Z for the first time.
Yes.
Doing that before that studio session.
Correct.
Talk about what happened with that.
So I'll tell the story again.
Okay.
Right? This will be an additional time that I've told this story throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? Because this story has existed.
This might be the first time it kind of went a little viral, though, man.
Yeah, and that's the part that I find very interesting.
Okay.
So, I'll say it again. I'm in the studio, D&D Studios. Shout out to Primo. He owned the studio at the time, and we are recording Keep Your Hands High in one room. But I get there after Big, and when I get there, Big is there with Jay.
Okay.
And Jay is having a conversation with Big because he's also in D&D in another room. I think he's doing Streets is Watching. I could be wrong, but he's recording. Okay. And so this is the first time I meet Jay because Big introduced me to Jay when, I saw Big and all that.
And we talking now, is 96, 97?
96, in December 96.
Okay.
It might have been around his birthday. I think it was December 5th. I think Jay's birthday was around that time or something like that. But anyway, I meet Jay for the first time. The Keep Your Hands High track is playing in the background, produced by Ike Lee III. Shout out to him. And so, he was there the night that we recorded the song. And I think the part that's going, that the part that people are in a frenzy over is two things. The first thing is that I said on Doggie Diamonds platform, shout out to him again, because, salute to you, brother, because he got eyeballs on me right now. So we about to take advantage of this whole thing.
Oh, absolutely.
So I told Doggie, I said, there's an interesting story about that night that Jay was there. And the interesting story to me was that he was there while we were recording that song. And ironically, or it just so happens that a few years later, Jay uses that sample, not my record. He uses the sample.
Okay.
Right? The Buchanans. I believe they produced the record for Jay. Okay. Sampled the same record from MFSB, right?
Okay.
And he said a line that was in my song. It was Big's line.
But it was in your song, though.
But it was in my song.
Right.
So I find that interesting that he was there that night that we recorded the song and he winds up using the same sample that we used and took a line that Big said in my song.
And real quick, Trey, correct me if I'm wrong, but did Jay also use at least a part of that line in the record with T.I.?
Well, Jay didn't use it. They sampled Jay saying that.
Right.
But still, it's a derivative. It derived from my song.
Your song, right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Again, it's Big's line. Big said the line. Big wrote the line, but it's a part of my song. I am a writer on that song.
Right.
You understand me?
Right.
And and the reason why I'm trying to give people clarification is because I'm gonna break all of that down later. But that's what happened. So then Doggie asked me, so he said, did you get paid for that? Right? And I said, I should.
Right.
And then he says, so are you gonna get paid for that? And I said, I should. I said, but I haven't knocked on any doors yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that was it. He asked me a question, and I answered it. Right? That does that sound like?
No, and on my way over here tonight, I listened to it again for myself, and yeah, man. I mean, you know, I think that he asked you a question, like you said, you answered it, and I think you gave him some great content, man, by even adding that story on the back end of it too.
Because it was all relatable. Because he was talking about the song itself, because he was making a comparison how me and Big did the song, and then he said, well, Jay also used that same sample, but he used more of the loop, whereas Ike Lee the Third kind of chopped it a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, it was all relative. I didn't just pull that story out of the blue. It all was relatable.